is found a image of a building that's mostly geometric lines. We're going to recreate it in our own illustration. And this is going to be a pen tool practice. So we've opened our Illustrator and opened our line practice. And we're going to do a little bit more practice with the pen, and I'm going to teach you about brushes before we start on this illustration. So we don't need to make a new artboard yet, but we will eventually make a new artboard. So I want everyone to, if you are in Illustrator right now, raise your hand. Okay, when you get an Illustrator, raise your hand. I just want to make sure everyone's in there before I start.
It wasn't installed on this computer, so I have to install it.
Okay, let's get you.
I am installing it right now. It's at 60%. So.
Okay. But you were here yesterday, right?
No.
You're not? Okay. I'm gonna help you separately.
Make a different shape.
So I have to sign into mine, right?
Yep.
And the Adobe Photoshop, is that what we're doing?
No, we're in Illustrator. Adobe Illustrator. So you're going to grab your pen tool. The shortcut for that is P. If you have room on your artboards, great. Use the artboards that you already have. If you need a new piece of paper, remember the artboard tool is down at the bottom left, right above the little white hand. It looks like a little square with some edges coming off. And if you click on that guy, you can go up to our specifications tool up at the top and click new artboard. And that's a little plus sign. So it says letter, that's the size of the paper that we're doing. And then it has the orientation, so either portrait or landscape. And then if you click new artboard, it's going to make a new one. And if you don't like them all next to each other like that, you can move it. And if you move the other ones, it will move everything on them. So if you like to rearrange. Oops. Remember, Command Z is a step back. So you're going to grab your pen tool. And the pen tool creates anchor points. So when you click and release, that makes an anchor point. Then when you move your pen tool and you click and release again, it makes another anchor point. So what you have made is a geometric line, a straight line. Click and release again, another geometric line. So every time you click and release, you're making geometric lines. It's still a line, a geometric line, as long as you keep clicking. When you get back to the beginning, where your line started, and you hover over that original anchor point, you'll see a little circle shows up. That means you are going to close that line and it will become a shape. Boop. Now, what I've created is a geometric shape. A shape is what happens when a line crosses over itself. So you can click, click, click. We're making geometric line. Do, 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 do. And to close it, you go back to the original. If you want to make geometric lines and then you want to stop and you don't want to close the shape, you just move your pen off of the line and click escape. If you want to make a curve with the pen tool, we did this yesterday, but if you want to make a curve with the pen tool, you're going to click, and instead of releasing, you will click and then drag before you release, and a handle will come out. click and drag, a handle will come out. And that will tell the curve how to behave. When I'm using the pen tool, your best friends are the Command and the Option keys. The Option key is going to allow you to adjust things that you've already done. So if you hold Option while you're over a path, you can change. Or if you hold Option when you're over a handle, you can change the curve that you made. Or if you hold Option while you're over if you hold Command when you're over an anchor point, you can move the anchor point. Boop, boop, boop. Beep, beep, beep. Boop. So the pen tool is very powerful, and it's also extremely complicated and frustrating for most students, especially when you start making curves, which is why I wanted you to choose a building that was mostly geometric shapes and lines. I was going to show you brushes today, but all of a sudden I think that's a dumb idea. So I think we're just going to stick with geometric lines and shapes. And I'm going to have you just go with those to make your buildings. And we'll use brushes for our next illustration project. So we're going to get set up. Those two people that, or at least one person that wasn't here yesterday, or that need individual help, I promise you I am going to be with you in just a minute. Everybody else, we're going to make a new artboard for your drawing. So look at the image that you have. I'm using falling water, and I would consider this image to be more of a landscape than a portrait, meaning wider than it is tall. Look at your building and decide whether it's taller than it is wide or wider than it is tall, because that's going to determine what kind of artboard you want to make. Nope, we're going to make it on this same document. Good question. So in the same document, we're going to go and make a new artboard. Raise your hand if you want me to shush for a minute. Okay, we're good. So the artboard tool again is right over the hand at the bottom. I'm going to click on that guy. Letter size is great. And then decide whether you want portrait or landscape. I'm going to choose landscape. Oops. Sorry. I'm going to make a new one. And now I'm going to choose landscape. I'm going to move it out of the way. And now I'm going to go to the web and pull my image out. Pull it on my artboard. So I'll give everyone about a minute to do that. Get your artboard ready. Get your image on your artboard. So you should just be able to click and drag your image onto the artboard from the web. We're going to actually be tracing our image. If you need help getting that onto the artboard, you let me know. Okay. So you got your artboard, and where's your image?
That was just small enough and bigger.
call it like, do you have, wait, so actually, you were gonna close. And open. Okay, you can
I went to bed at 4.
create new. And you can call it Emma line.
Oh, of course I shut your cell phone.
That's fine, because you're gonna be tracing it, so you're gonna end up getting rid of it. It's just for a, just for like a, and switch the drop down menu from points. Up above to inches. And you want it to be 8.5 by 11 inches.
Right here.
No, up where it says.
My mom's really chill about everything. Besides
Go
like,
8.5.
she's the least strict parent she's ever met. Unless it comes to building. And for the height too?
11. Yep.
So then I get the create now?
Yep. And do you have a image of a building?
Yep. I do it, drag it in.
Drag it right in. Yep. Awesome. Everyone have their building on their document?
So, I'm really fine.
Okay. You have.
I hit 2 and I was like, should I just put all nighter off of this? I have to work tomorrow. I'm just looking at. Can you like push it back out and be like? I mean, I always do. What you mean? But yeah, I did full studio. I started watching a new show. I already watched it, but I started rewatching Gilmore Girls. But it's very much a girls show. But I just started rewatching it last night. I like completely forgot it existed. And I'm like, oh yeah, I really want to watch it. And I rewatched it almost the first full season. I was thinking to myself, no, I have, that's because I took NyQuil. Like I just drink an energy drink, but I drink an energy drink at 10. No, there's like nothing. Really? When I drink that, I can't go to sleep. Now I know it's like,
You can choose. You will choose. You can choose whatever.
the problem is that they try to run as fast.
But hold on, because I'm gonna have the.
I like that one. Like I went to
You can make it a little bigger. You just don't want to have too much caffeine.
and I'm not supposed to have it though, like you can have caffeine like that. And I drink every
But
day.
your image is the vector image, so.
Yeah, exactly. So you get it.
So if your picture is, yes, oh, cool. That was awesome. That's perfect. Yep. So even if your picture is pixelated a little bit, or if it has like a watermark, it doesn't matter, because what you're going to be making over it is a vector image. So your vector image will be able to be resized, etc., appropriately. So as long as you have your image on the document right now, you're at the perfect spot. I'm going to walk you through the next steps. I know this is sort of slow, and then we'll be able to get started. Okay, next step. We want our image to be a little bit see-through so that we're going to be able to see our lines. So press V so that your image is selected. And then we're going to go to opacity. Opacity should be up in the menu bar up here. Oh, and Emma, you might not be in the same workspace as us. Does your workspace look a little different? Like, do you only have one set of tools here, or one line of tools? Okay, so go to Window and Workspace and choose Essentials Classic. Then yours will look like mine. So we're going to go to opacity. I usually like around 60. That just makes it a little see-through so that you can see your lines. And then what we're going to do is open our layers, because we don't want this picture moving all around. We don't want to have to worry about selecting it all the time. So we're going to lock this bad boy. I should have started by teaching you about layers in the first place, but I didn't, and you know what? Nobody's perfect. So we're going to open layers, and layers is in this little Excuse me, it's in the side menu. It looks like two little squares on top of each other. If you don't see that, you can always go to Window and choose Layers. We're in Layer 1. And I call this guy a caret. It's like literally just a triangle. But if you click on that caret, it's going to open, and you'll see all the stuff you've done. But your image is selected, and you can tell that because it has a little square next to it. So I'm in Layers. I opened the Layers menu, and I opened Layer 1 by clicking the arrow next to it. I want to lock this image so that it doesn't move around. So to do that, I'm going to click not next to the layer, but next to the image itself, right here. There's a little eyeball. If I click that eyeball, the eyeball disappears. The image disappears. Next to the eyeball, I'm going to click that square, and it's going to make a lock. That means now if I click around here, it's not going to move. So now I can trace on top of here and work on top of here, and that thing's not going to move, and it's not going to be super annoying. So now, get after it. What I would recommend, because who knows how long stuff takes, sometimes things just take way longer than you think. Sometimes things take way shorter. This is not a race for the finish, but I recommend starting large and then getting into the granular detail. So if you have a billion windows on your building, what I would recommend is starting with the outline of your building and then moving to the smaller details so that you don't end up with just a bunch of windows. One sec. You're going to use your pen tool. And so remember, if you want to stop a line, so I'm going to start here, let's say. Click. Right now, something's happening that I'm not happy about on mine. And the thing that I'm not happy about is that I don't have a line color. And I can tell that because I'm looking over here and I have no stroke. It's crossed out. I have to choose one. Someone asked, should I do it in black? It doesn't matter to me what color you do. You can close your shapes if you want. You can just do lines if you want. Don't forget, if you want to stop a line, but you don't want to close a shape, just move the pen off and click escape. It's okay if you get frustrated. This is literally probably the first time you've ever used this tool. People use this tool their whole lives and still get frustrated. It is a complex tool. It's okay to ask questions. You are not stupid. Have fun. That is all for now.